Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Ant Talks. We're flipping roles where I get to talk for once and I become the person who gets to interview, and I get to make her life a little more interesting, and I get to ask all the questions because I never get to, and it's really depressing. But anyways, so we are moving into 2021 knee deep. Obviously a big part of all of this right now and everyone's talking about is social media, with all the trends and all the new platforms and all the places to invest your time, and all the stuff we've learned from our kids and their kids and etc. And then decided that things actually make sense. So I've kind of thought of a few random questions for Miss Natalia to test her knowledge, and see how much she's aware of what the trends are for 2021. So
Bring it.
welcome to 2021 again. I know we're a little into the year, but hey, it's never too late. Happy New Year again, I guess. We've been kind of starting to talk to clients and see how, they're starting to ramp up and think about how to get back into action. And I think the biggest question that we said to get is, what's going on with social media and how is that going to be shifting this year? So I thought, maybe you could give us a little bit of an overview.
Fantastic. I would love to. So I think that there really is definitely a big social media strategy change between last year and this year.
Yeah.
So the way that I feel like 2020 really revolutionized and made the standard into focusing on video content. I think 2020 was a year where we finally introduced it and people really picked up on it and adapted to it. And rather than focusing on videos, it was really more on real world, real causes, raw video and in that sort of speaking. So I feel like, especially because of the causes that really blew up in 2020 as well, I feel like in 2021 there is no walking on eggshells anymore at all. I do think that in 2020 social media did what it did best. It connected people, it brought awareness. And I even when everything was going on, when the BLM movement really blew up in the beginning,
Right.
I feel like it's been a really, really long time where I felt like a lot of people were on the same wavelength. So it was interesting to see all of these, bandwagoners, all of these businesses that jumped onto it because, it was the thing that everyone was talking to. Right. And at the same time, you're obviously going to have the positives and the negatives to it. But at the same time, I think that if you actually look at the power of social media and what it did, I feel like that's what completely changed or is going to completely change how we work in 2021.
So do you think, just because since we're talking about it, do you think that it's the pandemic that pushed social and changed it? Or do you think it's what was happening, in the States and politically that helped push and propel that forward?
I think it was both. I think it was the fact that it was COVID and everyone had so much more time to actually be on Instagram or TikTok was something that really emerged and blew up as well. So it was with all this time, I feel, people got bored, right? So we do what we do best when we're bored. We stream, we go on Netflix, we go on YouTube, go on Instagram, look at funny videos and memes. And I do think that when you're looking at how things are going to kind of change in 2021, I feel like it's going to get more and more personalized. It's almost I think of for example, when you're on Amazon, for example, how many, or just online shopping in general, how many times where you'll say something and then you go on your phone and look for an ad or you see an ad that pops up, it's oh my gosh, they're listening to me.
Yeah.
So it's and even when you're shopping on Amazon, at the bottom it says, related products or so, things like that. I feel like that is going to be just pushed even further, because what I think the difference is that in 2021, the main focus for me, at least the way I see it, is on relationships.
It's interesting to say that. I mean, the client we were talking to, a few days ago, I remember them coming to us and saying that, I'm starting this new business and I don't know where to start with social and where do I go with this and what do I even focus on, right? And I don't know if you want to go over what you told them, but basically on how to pick where to focus your time.
Well, the thing is that the way that you have to think of social media and your strategy, right. I always say you need to pick three main factors or goals or just these differentiators that basically says why people should come to your page and not to somebody else's page.
Okay.
So I usually like to say in the beginning when you're starting to post, because I get the question all the time, how many times should I post? How often should I do it? Should I be doing it every day? Should I be doing it multiple times a day?
Yeah.
And I always say to start slow, and slow and steady wins the race.
So
That's the way
so
it goes.
okay, fine, but why, right? Because you look at it and you'd almost think, um, oh, I don't want to say logically, but human nature, I guess, is to, more is less type of thing, right? So go at it, go hard at it, get their attention, and then slow down. But you generally recommend slow down and then pick up. Why is that?
So the reason why I say that is because you want to be in front of people's faces, but you don't want to be all up in it.
Okay.
That's the way I go. So in the beginning, you want people to kind of like, the thing is that people, we're all about patterns, right? So when you're I always like to say start something small, posting 2 or 3 times a week consistently.
Okay.
Because if that's when you're going to get more devoted people coming back knowing, oh yeah, you know what, they didn't post yesterday, they're probably going to post today. Or maybe like if you have a series where every Thursday you post throwback,
Right.
people are going to start looking for these things. Now, if you're somebody who maybe for the first 2 weeks you post every single day, you're consistent, things are going well, you're getting followers and engagement, all that stuff. And then so you're kind of, going up, and then once you stop, you completely fall off.
Hmm.
So that's why I always say I rather you focus on less content that's actually bringing value to people, because that's what's important. Because if you think about it, I can post a million pictures on Instagram all day if I wanted to.
Yeah.
But what is that like? How does that affect other people? How does that affect how they feel? How does that affect what they think of you also? And that's why I always say you need to build those things up because people start expecting it from you. So imagine you're posting 5 times a week, and then all of a sudden for 2 months you don't post at all. Automatically that's where you get disconnects, and
Yeah.
people don't really want that relationship anymore, so they unfollow.
So I guess you see I've certain other business partners all that we work with, and they'll literally post everything every 2 minutes, right? Oh, ate this. Oh, did that. Oh, talked to this person. Um, you know, uh, what do you have to say to those guys, right? Where they're literally, I don't want to be rude about it, but you're literally documenting your life second by second, right?
That's, you know what, it's interesting because I'm always the kind of person that says, you know what, you can make a story out of anything,
Yeah.
which is true. But I think what's fundamental is at the end of the day, whatever you're posting, it needs to go back to your mission and your goal, which is why I always like to tell people whenever you're building content, always go back to those 3 pillars.
Okay.
And they're usually the reason why I also pick 3 is that what I suggest people is make a post each week based on each pillar. So
Ah,
that's how
sweet.
you
Okay.
know for sure that you're getting a comprehensive content out there. So whether that's like, for example, with my with my personal Instagram, I can post something during the week, something educational, something motivational, or something about love, for example. So making sure you hit these targets, because you have to think of it as somebody who can see your page, for the first time. Let's just say it's I post something. Actually, this is a perfect example. So yesterday I posted a video on my story of like the CN Tower or whatever, and I ended up tagging like this Toronto account.
Okay.
So I tagged this Toronto account, which has literally like I think 170 or 100K followers, something like that.
Nice.
And I was thinking about it logically. I'm like, okay, this is really interesting because that yesterday I had posted something. I also posted something on my story, and I thought, and this was before I ended up, I saw that they reposted my story. So I thought to myself, okay, now all of these people who saw that Toronto account,
Yeah.
they're not going to go back to my account and see that I'm active.
Yeah. True.
And at the end of the day, if they go through my content, they can see, okay, she talks about motivation. She does stuff like promoting, deaf awareness, and she does things about lifestyle, about her life. So right then and there, you know exactly what I do.
Yeah. It's brilliant. So
And
so as a business, I guess, how do you, or do you not, mesh that line between posting, in real life slash personal stuff versus business related things, or things related to your business?
so I think what makes a difference between doing that successfully and not is how salesy you are and how
Yeah.
genuine you actually appear to be. Because at the end of the day, it's like I say, like for my like for dental accounts, right? So I have a whole bunch of clients that are dentists. So if you think to yourself, why would anybody follow a dentist page?
Yeah.
Right? Like no one cares about the dentist. No one even, wants to go to the dentist in the first place.
Yeah.
So what my goal is when I'm doing that is to really connect to people's emotions. So my thing is that if you can connect what you're feeling and you can make other people feel the same way that you did, then
Right.
that's successful. And that's something that you should post 100%.
Okay.
As long as there's some sort of meaning there, as long as that there's something that will get people to connect with you, then I always say the more content, the better. But it's about being consistent with it.
Agreed. Agreed.
And
So
at the end of the day, I
okay.
find that there, I find that we some like I think the goal of 2021 really is to get closer to people. So especially with businesses, I have a lot of businesses that, like accountants or like business professionals will tell me like, what's the point of me having an Instagram?
Yeah.
And it's talking about really balancing the lifestyle and the business aspect of it. At the end of the day, a lot of people work with you because of you, not
100%.
necessarily, or people are, or vice versa. They don't
Yeah.
work with you because, they didn't like your energy, your personality, what you did, what you called them, whatever it
Yeah.
was.
Yeah.
So it's important to have that fine line where you're really talking about what you believe in, what your values are, because people don't care just about your service. People care about what you represent, which is why I was talking about causes. And it's funny because I have this conversation with a bunch of clients who are somewhat hesitant to talk about sensitive issues.
Right.
And my thing is, if you're going to talk about it, talk about it.
Yeah.
If you're not going to talk about it, don't talk about it.
Yeah. Draw a line in the sand kind of thing.
Yeah, you got like, because at the end of the day, people can smell, they can tell if you're not being genuine about it, and if you're just saying it to say it.
Yeah. Interesting. That's some really good perspective. I think that we should do two other ones in the coming few weeks. Probably one around TikTok, of course, and its usage, and the other one probably around building the story, right? How do you build a story, and how do you engage and keep people interested in what you represent in a way that resonates with them at the end of the day. But these have been great tips. Thank you so much for sharing them. I look forward to learning more, and then as the year and as things progress, we'll come back and keep revisiting different social media properties and seeing how we can maximize them.
Yes. And if you guys have any questions, whether it's about your business, your industry, even asking me, what kind of hashtags to use, please comment, ask me, tag me, DM
100.
me.
Awesome. Where's the bam bam?
Bam, bam.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon.